The Trump era begins with a bang. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, January the 26th. And, of course, last Monday was Inauguration Day, as we got rid of one of the worst presidents in history, one of the biggest criminals in history, and have now started the new era. Now let's hope that President Trump can take America back and quit giving away our money, quit giving away our resources, and let us get back to being the #1 country in the world. We've got the new study of the distrust in America's leaders for 2024 was the highest in history, including journalists. And of course, we know how much problems the news organizations are now that President Biden is out, because of course they only want to cover journalism from the left side. And again, I'm not left or right. I am center. I am fiscally responsible and don't care what you do personally. Obviously, there's a lot of issues that are out there that we need to adjust and correct. And I think that we can do that. And I think that President Trump will. And I think that when you look at the deportation flights have begun, I think that's great. I think I'd like to be like Switzerland, who in 2024 had 60% of deportations. I think that I would like to deport everybody that does not belong here, that is here illegally. Okay, especially the criminals, especially the gangs, because I think we need to end these sanctuary cities. I think we need to end all the money that we're paying for these illegals. I think that it's criminal to have these people here unless they come in the right way. I mean, again, most of us are immigrants from some fort in our family, and our families came in legally, and I think that's the way it should be done. Again, I'm a big believer in law and order, and I'm a big believer in that we should not have open borders, and hopefully this is now resolving itself, as we know that the Texas borders were closed on Monday. So hopefully we can get this going. But again, we have a lot of changes that need to be made. And of course, obviously, we know that the master tweeter is back. And again, he'll say a lot of things, some of them great, some of them a little bit questionable. But again, I do believe that he has a great love for the American people and for the United States of America. And I do not believe, whether you like him or you don't like him, I believe that he is for all Americans. Okay. Again, obviously, as you know, I don't agree with a lot of the policies. I don't agree with things that have happened over the past 10 years. But again, I do believe in general that President Trump does care for the American people. But he did blast the Bank of America for being anti-conservative banking bias and have no common sense, and they were like an informant, and also total bullshit. Bank of America torched after claiming they don't discriminate against conservatives. Well, again, I don't know why anybody would conspire against anybody. Okay, when it comes to money, I think that the money is the same color and the same whether you be a conservative or a non-conservative or a liberal. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I think this is one of the problems that we have to find. And for Davos, you know, they're having the World Economic Forum in Davos, and for them to come out with a statement basically that we've lost to Trump. I don't know that you've lost to anybody. I think you've seen a switch in the world. Okay, starting in Argentina with Milei, and now even in Canada, which is turning more of a red wave. And I think that Trump's approval rating in Canada went up from 13% to 43% in a week. Okay, and certainly there are things that we can do. And of course, we've got the tariffs that we're talking about. And I am a fan of tariffs. I am a fan of bringing back the United States of America. As you know, I have said this before, I'll say it again. I would prefer to be an island. I am tired of supporting the rest of the world. And Lithuania stepped up right away and said they'll pay their share of NATO. And if people want to pay for protection, I think that's the way it should be. Okay, I do not believe that we should be supporting the rest of the world. I think we have enough trouble here. I mean, $36 trillion in debt, and it's going to grow, and it's going to grow faster once again. I mean, Trump did bring in a lot of new debt when he was president the last time. He is now talking about having interest rates reduced immediately, which I do not agree with. Okay, I think, again, this is the problem with our system today is we refuse to let the free market work. Okay, that is the problem. Interest rates should be higher, and the 10-year note should be over 6%. Okay, just because if you were under, let's say, 25 in 2008, okay, you would not know that these low rates. I mean, when I go back, many of us had mortgages that were 12, 13, 14%. And I'm not saying that you should have that type of mortgage. I'm saying that if you let the free market decide what interest rates should be, they will be there. In the meantime, the Federal Reserve continues to fuck the American people with their moronic rate cuts, okay, because those rate cuts have not been passed on to the American citizens. All they have done is allowed the banks to make a bigger spread on the money. And now the banks are making more than ever, okay, because their borrowing rate when they borrow from the Federal Reserve has dropped 100 basis points, whereas the interest rate that they lend out at has gone up 120 basis points. So, again, I ask you, mortgage rates skyrocketing. I mean, in some places, 8.5% now. And again, that is not that high when you think about it. What it does do is it takes away the day trading of housing, okay, where you just flip your house back and forth. But again, I think that existing home sales are the lowest since 1995, 30 years ago, okay? So again, you're seeing an effect on the housing market. I think you're starting to see some building slow, and I think there's a lot of projects that are started that are slowing as well. But we'll see, okay? And there's a big question. Does the money supply deficits in QA create inflation? And the answer is yes, okay? When you continue to pump up the money supply, okay, you continue to create more taxes, more dollars, more inflation. And of course, we talk about often here the hidden tax of inflation because of the federal tax on all of these things. And I don't think we should have a QE program. If the banks go under again, I don't think we should bail out the banks. I think you should bail out the depositors, because you can bet your ass that we are, again, when are we going to collapse? I have no idea. I've been wrong for, let's say 18 months calling for a 50% haircut. But I still believe it is coming. Again, I haven't to get hurt by it. I mean, I'm certainly long the market. But at the end of the day, I believe it's definitely coming. But, I think you got to look at now, homeowners for the second year in a row, their homeowner insurance policies have doubled once again. Okay, so we are getting to a point where how is the average person going to live? When you look at the inflationary curve that was created by the Biden administration, it is just brutal and ridiculous at the cost of things that we have to pay for and the dollars that you are paying for. But again, hopefully, with drill baby drill, we will see we will become the world leader with oil once again. I think that, again, we have more oil than anybody else anyways. So we have in our country right now at current usage over a 300-year supply that I'm hoping that we go for it all, okay? I want to ship liquefied natural gas overseas. I want America to prosper, okay, with our own natural resources, okay? Again, you've seen the bans on the changes in the EV markets, and again, it's not a good thing, okay? Forcing when you're not prepared to go there anyways, okay? If you believe in climate change, great. I don't, but again, if you do, I don't have anything against you, but you're not prepared for electronic vehicles. And now with the new 500 billion AI processing that we're coming out with now with the investors, with Ellison and those from the computer industry trying to create this whole new big AI product, understand that AI burns more energy at a rate of about 6 or 7 to 1 than it was to mine Bitcoin. So those of you who are familiar with mining a Bitcoin, okay, it burned so much energy that it was a threat to the power grid. Well, what do you think AI is going to be from an energy standpoint? I mean, I'm not a big fan of AI to begin with. I think that, it just made it much easier for hacking. It's made it much easier for the criminals, because remember, the criminals are always ahead. This goes down to the to the gun lobbies, okay, and that the criminals are going to get guns. So if you outlaw guns to Americans, the criminals are going to have it. The Americans are not, or the people are not. And again, I'm a big believer in the Second Amendment, but at the end, you've got now China's got a new AI DeepSeek, which you can actually download for virtually nothing. So again, and it's basically because President Biden handed them the keys to make this thing happen. Okay, President Biden gave away the country. Okay, President Biden gave all of our resources, all of our monies away to others for personal benefit. And of course, we'll get more of this in my commentary, but it was shameful and a crime that he pardoned his family as he was on the way to the inauguration. Okay, he promised he wouldn't pardon his son, Hunter, and again, everybody knew he would, but he promised, and then he gives blind pardons that they don't even have, there weren't any criminal things around those people in his family, yet now they're issuing him pardons. So I think there's a lot of issues, a lot of problems in this country. President Trump is not going to be able to take them all on at once. I think there's a lot of damage going to be done economically to a lot of us. Okay, I think that we are in a recession. I don't think that has changed. The middle class has suffered and continues to suffer, and now with prices going even higher, I mean, it's wild to see what's going on. But again, it is my hope that we get back on track and we get back to becoming a manufacturing country, that we get back to being the strength, and we quit giving away the shop to everybody else. Because again, I think you have to remember that whether you be a Republican or you be a Democrat or a Libertarian, you should be an American first. And that's what I'm for. America first for everything. I'm not interested. We need to take care of the problems at home. The wildfires in California, the floods that happen, and the hurricanes in North Carolina, Florida. We need to take care of our country first, not the rest of the world. And this is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd, Bubba Horwitz. We're going to step out here for a break, and we'll be back with our market commentary right after the break. What's up, kids? What's going on? Hope you're having a great week. It was a good week for me. I enjoyed it. I was glad to see the changes that our new president has made. But in the meantime, markets had another up week. We continue to, rise in the market. Markets are extremely overbought. I said there'd be a big sell-off last week. We didn't have a big sell-off. We had a small sell-off on Friday. 100 points or whatever it was in the S&P. I mean, in the NASDAQ. But there is a big meltdown coming. I mean, I'm only talking like a 1 or 2 day event, which is, let's say the S&P will be down 100, 150 points. I'm not looking, again, this is not me saying the markets are going to crash. This is me saying markets are extremely overbought. There's going to be a pullback. Where we go from that pullback will be a buying opportunity or will be the start of a bigger sell-off. That I can't answer. But I will say with almost 100% certainty that the next few days, with let's say next 5 trading days, we'll have a real big down day. Okay. In the meantime, major indices were higher for the week. We were long most of the week, but we are now flat across the board in the major indices. The dollar continues to charge higher. We would be short. Okay, and it did get hurt a little bit on Friday, but we would be short. The euro currency has come off a little bit. We are still long. Bonds and notes, we are still long. And again, I'm hoping that they rush up a little bit higher faster, because I'd like to be short, because I do think interest rates are going higher. And the bond futures go inverse to what interest rates are doing. Bitcoin back up to 105,000, printed a new high last week. As the S&P, by the way, had a weekly printing closing high. But Bitcoin, again, I like Bitcoin. I think it's got to have a pullback. I think it's 85 or 90,000, but we have no position in it. We're flat right now. Gold had a nice week, getting close to 2,800. We're still long. Silver continues to churn. We're still flat. Platinum, which we don't trade, but we would be long. Copper we're flat. Kind of has a moderate week. Not much action. Grain markets were moderately higher. Wheat continues to struggle. We're short soybeans. We're short corn. We're short corn. Okay. And again, I think that I'd like to see that one little pullback here to get ourselves out. And I will expect a bigger rally. It appears that the grain markets start to turn, and cattle printed at over $2. Actually, it closed the week almost 205, which is ridiculous. But again, this is part of the inflationary thing. And I did sell cattle. Again, we don't trade it as a group, but I did sell it at $2. And it's up my ass a little bit here, but we'll see what happens. And hogs, I never get a chance to buy them back at 80. Again, but that's from the perspective of what I expect economically. In the Natural gas is moderate. It was a little bit flat for the week. We're short natural gas. Again, you would have thought, based on all the news and information, polar vortex, it would be a lot higher. Well, it wasn't. It was basically down all week and had a little bit of a rally Friday. We're short crude oil, which has come all the way back down from 80 back down to 74. And I expect crude oil to go back into the 40s. Again, as long as we get the drill, baby, drill. I do think we're going a lot lower, and that will reduce the amount of inflation. And again, we have to get back to letting the free markets trade, because that's really the issue that we're looking at. But hopefully, as I said, President Trump will get that going. I do not want to see lower interest rates, though. I think that would be wrong. I think that would be a bad move. In the meantime, we'll step out here for our final break. And again, we'll come back with our commentary and our football picks right here on Bubba's Bottom Line, Sunday, January the 26th. Well, kids, here we are. And of course, you know my sponsors. And of course, they are Capital Trading Group. They are TRADIER Brokerage, ITM Trading. That's for your gold and silver needs. That is also with our friend Danielle Cambone, okay, where we if you're looking for physical metals, and of course, SpookyExpress.com for your sports and betting needs if you want. He's an affiliate to many of the offshore brokers. Check him out. Got a great newsletter, but that's SpookyExpress.com. And of course, our high school program, don't forget it. And in the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, January the 26th. And of course, interesting week, lots of pardons. I'm going to talk about, first of all, the system of pardoning I think needs to be changed. I think Biden pardoned more people than all the presidents combined in history. Okay, to pardon his son, which again there was never a doubt. Okay, and to pardon his family on his way without even letting President Trump know and finding out at the inauguration. I think that again that just shows what a true criminal President Biden was. And again, 50 years of stealing, I think was horrific. His presidency was horrific. I think he's horrific, and I think that what he did was bad. And of course, then there's the insurrection pardons. Again, I don't know that there should have been a blanket pardon on all the January 6th, but again, we don't have the full story of what happened on January 6th. We only have the blasted media, liberal, left side of the argument. Pelosi had some fault in some of these things here. Again, the overall insurrection, again, I don't know how I really feel about what happened, but I do think that, again, to blanket pardon everybody, I think might have been something to think about. Again, I don't have all the specific details, but I think this goes back to our pardoning system and the power of the president when it comes to releasing criminals. Again, I don't know. I can't answer with 100% certainty, because again, I don't know if there should have been blanket pardons, but I think that under the circumstances and the way that it all went down and the involvement of the FBI and the involvement of some of those from the left, it was almost like it was a setup. So again, I don't have a real strong opinion, but I do have a strong opinion on the pardoning ability and who can be let out. I mean, to let out a murderer, which Biden did, that killed a Marine, to me that is pretty sad and pretty pathetic. But I think we need to buckle down and change some of our political ways and so take away some of the powers that are there, because I think that overall the country has been weakened by a lot of these things, and I think it's a situation that we just can't be blanket pardoning our families and things like that, and criminals that are like that. So that's just my take on it. Again, I think that we need to get to term limits. We need a lot of things and a lot of work, and hopefully our new president will help take care of some of those things, and we'll see what it looks like. In the meantime, for my football fans, I like the Philadelphia Eagles today, and I like Kansas City today. That is for me. That is what I like. Have a great week, everybody. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd, Bubba Horwitz. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself, and we'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update. Take care, everybody.